Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024. I'm honored to have our next guest with us. He's a very dear friend and someone who has made an incredibly positive impact on your safety, on your welfare, not just in folks in our country, but around the world. He's dedicated his life to not just the rule of law, but implementation of the rule of law so that it positively affects every American and, frankly, every person of the world. Victor Avila is a retired supervisory special agent with the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, Homeland Security Investigations, and under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS. ICE enforces federal laws governing border control, customs, trade, and immigration to promote homeland security and public safety. Victor has been recognized by ICE and the Homeland Security Investigations for his exemplary service and professional accomplishments while serving as special agent in the El Paso field office. Victor served as an accredited diplomat and liaison, conducting international complex criminal investigations in a wide range of violations such as narcotics trafficking, arms trafficking, human trafficking, smuggling, financial violations, commercial fraud, and counterterrorism. While on official assignment in Mexico, Special Agent Avila suffered multiple gunshot wounds and survived a violent ambush by the Mexican Los Zetas drug cartel, where his partner, Special Agent Jaime Zapata, tragically lost his life. Victor has written an incredible book, a book that you need to not just have in your possession, but read it and then network it and buy copies for your friends and families. I assure you, the information in that book you will never get through the bought-off lamestream fake media, and that includes Fox. The name of the book, Agent Under Fire, website for the book, agentunderfirebook.com. It's my honor to welcome back my friend, Victor Avila. Victor, welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform.
Thank you so much for having me back, and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you. So, Victor, Congress actually finally did something positive. We spoke about this last time, but please educate our listeners on the Jaime Zapata and Victor Avila Federal Officer and Employee Protection Act that was passed by Congress.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you brought that up. It was finally signed into law, and it's an incredible law, much stronger law than it was before. And just to give the listeners a little bit of background, the reason we had to go this way and draft this new bill and this new law was because the murder charge was dropped. And that's the murder charge that was used, the statute, to convict these killers, the Zeta cartel members, of the murder of Special Agent Jaime Zapata. They had appealed their sentence, and the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with them and dismissed that murder charge because the murder had happened extraterritorially, meaning outside of the United States. Well, we changed that in the law, and the law you just mentioned, that bears my name and Jaime's name. The unfortunate part of this is that Biden had a big signing ceremony in Washington, D.C., and we were not invited to attend that ceremony. It was very hurtful to me and the Zapata family. Nevertheless, Senator Cornyn from Texas did a really nice recognition, came up to North Texas and presented me with the law in a frame, and it was very nice. But had to focus on the accomplishment of this law that will continue to protect now our agents that serve abroad, not just the agent now, but we added the family and assault, not just a murder or attempted murder, but assault of any employee or the family members. They will be brought to justice in the United States.
Victor, the name of the bill is named after you and your partner, Jaime Zapata. I got that right, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's the Jaime Zapata and Victor Avila Federal Officer and Employee Protection Act.
Okay, Victor. So he has a signing ceremony, right? And he doesn't invite the family of the guy who died, who was murdered by these thugs in this cartel, and he doesn't invite the survivor, you, who got shot up, almost died. He doesn't invite the family of the guy who was murdered and the guy who almost got murdered, who's still alive, for the signing ceremony. I got that right?
You got that absolutely right. As a matter of fact, Senator Cornyn's office from Texas and other congressmen had provided all of the information to the White House. They told me, be on standby. Are you willing to go? I said, yes, I respect the office of the presidency. This is above politics. This is an important bill that we're going to get passed. I will be present there. And the invitation never came. I was actually doing a public speaking event when I got a text saying that the signing ceremony will be tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern in Washington, D.C., which someone gave me. It wasn't the White House. It was someone else that gave me the heads up. So I actually watched it live as it streamed on the White House channel, and it was very disappointing. I was very upset, as you can imagine, that day, and had to kind of regroup myself, because they were really good at opening old wounds of, the old feelings of not wanting and not wanted back by the government after I've been shot, and what happened under the Obama Biden administration and Fast and Furious, you name it. It all came back in an instant that day. But I had to refocus and say, this is much better. This bill that's being passed is above and beyond of the actions of this administration that we know are just disastrous.
So, Victor, our listeners right now are saying, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't he want Victor there, and why wouldn't he want Special Agent Jaime Zapata's family there? So I'm going to put a scenario forward, and you tell me if I'm a conspiracy theorist and way off on this. The reason why Biden and the thugs around him, let's put Obama in that category as well, did not want you there, or the Zapata family, is because the weapons that were used to almost kill you and kill your partner, Jaime Zapata, were actually weapons that were procured through the Fast and Furious program that Obama and Biden and Eric Holder, their attorney general, oversaw, that took arms from the United States, funneled them into the arms of the Mexican cartel, which in this case was then used to murder your partner and almost murder you. And they didn't want you there because, well, you know what? Something might be said about what all transpired that led to this. Am I off, Victor?
You are not wrong. You are right on target. And that, along with other things, I think, is the reason why they didn't want me there. All you have to do is Google me, and you'll see that I'm a conservative American patriot that do not align with the policies and ideologies of this administration. And maybe that they didn't want me there because of that. But we've gotten to a point where even if we disagree on these type of political issues and the border security and all that, and I'm an advocate, as you know, for all these issues, that maybe that's why they didn't want me there to face him. And I would have had the opportunity to talk to him. I would have said something, because there's no way I would have been there without saying something. I guess they didn't want to afford me that opportunity.
They fear you, Victor. And they fear Jaime Zapata. and his memory and his family.
And as you know, Dr. Dave, I continue to do everything to honor his memory.
Yes, you do.
And the reason why, and I'm going to bring this up now, is that's why I'm running for office, because I feel I have a calling, and so I have thrown my hat in to run for Texas Land Commissioner to do something about this disastrous open border under the Biden policy. And I think the state of Texas needs to step up and finally do something. We're never going to get the Biden administration to do anything at the border. They want it that way intentionally, but it is just out of control, Dr. Dave. It is. Let me tell you what's happening here at the latest.
Yeah, give us the latest.
This is just yesterday. Within 24 hours of the new year, Border Patrol agents were shot at in the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas, and one of their patrol vehicles was struck 3 times while the Border Patrol was arresting illegal aliens. Someone from the Mexican side, cartel members, shot at our Border Patrol agents. Luckily, no one was hit and no one was hurt. A sex offender was caught in the Laredo sector that had a warrant out of Dallas Police Department for sexual assault of a child. There was another individual that was caught that was deported for killing a police officer back in 1993, served his sentence, and is coming right back. There was a terrorist that was released by the Mexican government on the FBI terror watch list, terrorists from Yemen. Mexican authorities released them without notifying the United States Department of Homeland Security or FBI, and he's somewhere loose coming through our southern border. There was an individual arrested from Saudi Arabia who had ties to Yemen in Arizona last month. This is just the tip of what I was able to write for you. It is continuous. The smuggling, the fentanyl smuggling, the methamphetamine, the criminal activity at our southern border has not stopped, and this is why I had to do something about it. I'm running for Texas Land Commissioner. Go to VictorAvilaTX.com. That's my website for the campaign. VictorAvilaTX.com. I need people's help to get there. These things cost money, but I need to get there. I need to do something with the expertise that I have at the border to finally do something to stop the flow. It's enough with these people continue to come in. They're not being stopped, Dr. Dave. They're not being stopped.
Nope. So, Victor, with this Texas Land Commission,
eventually let them in.
With this Texas Land Commissioner position, educate our listeners of what you could do in that position.
The Texas Land Commissioner does several things, but the main thing is oversees 13 million acres of Texas public land. And I'm going to focus on several parts. One is the land that touches that Texas-Mexico border. There is a little bit of a wall that the state of Texas already started building, state border wall, just like the Trump wall, which is great. But I need to get in there, and I need to put that wall in the most vulnerable openings where the traffic comes in. I don't want that wall 2 miles inland. I want that wall on the border. I will work also where our Texas public land merges with private landowners and ranchers, and I will talk to them. I've already talked to them as a private citizen. I was there last month, and I talked to them. They want to donate their land. They want to lease their land to the state of Texas. I will negotiate with them to be able to put a barrier in those vulnerable areas. I don't want a show anymore. I want the barriers to be where the people are coming up. I no longer want the Border Patrol agents to help them up, the National Guard to help them up. I want them to not come in at all because it is a public safety issue. It's a national security issue. Second of all, I vouch and I will promise never to sell any of our public lands to the CCP in China. We have, this last administration sold 140,000 acres to CCP right on the border in Valverde County in Del Rio, Texas, next to Laughlin Air Force Base. That is incredible to me. I will not do it.
That's a huge national security issue.
Absolutely.
So, Victor, is the election in November 2022?
Yes, but we have a big primary in March. I need everyone's help to get me to the primary in March. If I get to the primary in March, and if I am, which I think I am, no one running in this election has the expertise that I have when it comes to the border and securing it. I will do it. I will bring all my expertise and my diplomatic experience as well in negotiations with all levels of government. And I need people's help to get there in March. And if I get there in the runoff, I will be your next Texas Land Commissioner. So people, please go to VictorAvilaTX.com. I need your donations and contributions to help me get there.
Victor, AVILATX, as in Texas, TX.com. So, Victor, who are you running against in the primary?
There's 7 others that it's an open seat. So the incumbent stepped away because he's running for Attorney General. And this is another issue that we're seeing. Several of the candidates that are running are other officials that they want to use this office of the Texas Land Commissioner because this office is being used as a springboard to get to higher office. That's not what I want. I want to get into this office to save Texas. And these politicians that we continue to be recycled over and over from one office to the other office to the other office and not getting anything tangible done. I am done with that. I want to get to the office for the right reason, to represent the people, to protect the citizens of Texas, which, as you know, we protect Texas, we protect the rest of the country.
Right.
Because these individuals are going everywhere. And
That's
so
exactly.
I know the effects of that, the rest of the states of where you're at in Michigan and everywhere else that we've talked about many, many times before. We save Texas, we save the rest of the country.
Well, it's interesting, Victor. About 5 months ago, you were on our platform talking about how you were at the border, that you were following the illegals into bus stations and in airports, and the airport side and on the bus side they were putting on commercial vehicles and commercial flights to ride with the general public, untested, unvetted, put on planes and being sent north. Well, yesterday there's this big breaking news report. Do you know that illegals were being flown into Allentown, Pennsylvania, and in Reading, Pennsylvania, and in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and no one knew that this was occurring? Victor, you put your neck on the line, investigated this half a year ago, and have had this out there, and they're acting like it's breaking news on January 1st, 2022.
That's right, and that's just the media not wanting and not haven't been able to ignore this. And it's getting to the point where they just can't, because what's happening? Look at where they're dropping them off, and all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, you're bringing them to our neighborhood. I've been saying that all along. They're coming to a neighborhood near you. Oh, and by the way, they always do it in the darkness of night, in the middle of the night where no one can actually try to see where these individuals end up. But look at the list that I gave you before. These are the ones that were caught and were aware of. And these are a lot of criminal aliens. There are a lot of gang members. A lot of these caravans continue to bring MS-13 gang members as security for them. They carry amongst the 200-300 members in there, thousands of them, 200-300 pounds of methamphetamine. I've talked to the police department in Dallas, San Antonio, Abilene, Texas, Houston. The number one issue they have related to crime is methamphetamine. Colorado, the same thing. Methamphetamine, fentanyl. They're killing our people with these counterfeit pills that continue to pour through that porous open border. And it seems like you're absolutely right. Now, all of a sudden, they're paying attention. We need a lot more attention down there. I'll bring the attention. If people do not know what a Texas Land Commissioner is or what he does, they will know when I get there.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind. So, Victor, what kind of support have you gotten? Has anyone that's I don't know, in the Texas political world, have they said, "Hey, here's a guy with experience. Here's a guy who took on the Mexican drug cartels. Here's a guy who's grew up in Texas. Here's a guy who knows the border inside out. This is the guy we need." Has anybody done that?
A lot of grassroots efforts and support have come up, but not the big names, and it's always puzzling because exactly what you just said. The people have been asking for a candidate like me for a long time, just like me, that is a no holds barred. I'm unafraid, Dave. You know that. I bring a very different sense to this office and to the political world. I'm not a politician.
Well, I think you answered your own question. I mean, like some people are saying, wait a minute, why hasn't Greg Abbott? Why hasn't who's your Patrick? Isn't Dan Patrick the lieutenant governor? Why haven't these people stepped up and supported? Well, Victor, you scare the heck out of them.
I think so. I think the number one opponent that I have is a state senator that has all the endorsements. She went around collecting the endorsements, and that's fine. The endorsements are okay. But I'm more concerned about what the people want, and I want the endorsement of the people and the voters that I will represent directly. This office also oversees, by the way, a lot of funding that goes to our school systems. And guess what they're teaching in Dallas ISD and these huge independent school districts in Texas? Critical race theory. And I'm so against that. I've fought that in my own hometown of South Lake, Texas for the last 3 years. And I know how to do that. And I don't want to see the funding and the money go to these independent school districts that continue to indoctrinate our kids. I will stand in front of that money and block it and challenge it as much as I can and not continue to fund these school districts. But I don't see that happening. People tell me, well, it's the pass-through office, Victor. That's the way it's been. Well, you know what, Dave? I've done a lot of things in my career, as I've talked to you many times, and I've done things that no one had ever done before when I was in Mexico, when I rescued countless women and children of human trafficking victims because no one had done it before. I did a big Chinese smuggling case out of Mexico to New York because nobody had done it before. If that was the case, and people tell me, oh, you can't do it or you don't want to do it are two different things. And I'm going to bring that outside the box thinking to this office, and people will know the ability and the authority that this office has, and I will use it.
What kind of pushback have you had? Have you had some people say, Victor, you're a good guy, don't do this? Yes,
I've had a couple of those. You don't stand a chance. Well, if that's the case, I would never. I'd be in my couch scratching my belly. But I'm not that type of guy. I've been a fighter all my life. I overcame this horrific shooting that you talked about at the top of the show, and it's a calling for me. It's a public service that I have done most of my life. 20 years of my life I've been in public service. I feel as a natural progression and service to give back. I have to, and I feel to give back now. And this is the moment to do it. Those individuals, for some reason, whether it's for political reasons, I don't know. I'm doing it for the reasons to save our state and our country. And I think we're in a crossroads here, and we've been in a crossroads for a long time. And there's a lot of people, I'm not the only one that should be running, but there are people like me that want to run. They make it very difficult. It costs a lot of money. You need to organize all these things. Well, I'm giving it my all to do it, and I will not be overworked by anyone. And I will be starting just this coming week, traveling all over the state of Texas, getting people to know me and hopefully getting their support. And that means some funding as well. Hopefully it'll get us through it. But I think I stand a really good chance to get in March and be in that runoff to take this all the way to November.
Victor Avila, Avila, TX for Texas, TX.com. Victor, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do